first time in 30 years, the Dallas Cowboys are victorious on the road in the NFL postseason as they take down the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 31-14 in the wild card round. Now they shift their attention to the San Francisco 49ers in a revenge game for the wild card round loss a year ago. Welcome into Special Edition. Isaiah Steinbeck, Barry Church, Nate Newton. I'm Kyle Yeomans. This is our final show, win or lose for the Cowboys, of Special Edition this season. Thank you all for joining us throughout the year. But let's start by taking a look back at the Tampa Bay win. And this is a 31-14 game where they really outplayed Tom Brady's Buccaneers in all aspects of this one. But what was your biggest takeaway? What was your most impressive thing that stood out to you in the win?
Yeah, in the win, I always have to say that the approach to the game plan, right? The game plan the coaches actually had, and then the execution from the player standpoint. It was very clear that defensively they changed things up and decided to come and get in the face of these defensive backs. It was also very clear that they had a change of pace in terms of the tempo offensively for Dak Prescott in this offense. So I like the fact that they changed the game plans up, but even more so, the players executed it.
Yeah, my biggest thing that stood out was the play of a young defensive back. That's Israel Mukuamu. I mean, that guy lined up in the slot against one of the best receivers in the game, and Godwin, and was able to hold his own. I mean, he was physical out there. He didn't get a lot of playing time throughout the season, but he stepped up in a huge way for the playoffs. That was my biggest takeaway from this game.
You know, I always believe whoever punch first, score first, gets six, not field goals, but whoever gets six first. I like the way our defense held them for 2 possessions until our offense got online. I think that was key.
What about the key of Dak Prescott playing better, taking care of the football? He had 5 combined touchdowns, 4 through the air, 1 on the ground, quite possibly his best performance as a whole, coming right on the heels of his worst performance as a whole throughout his career. What impressed you the most by what Dak Prescott brought to the table?
You could tell that he did his studying before the game. His decision-making was clear, his vision was clear, his understanding of what the defense was presenting, and then knowing where to go to attack the weaknesses of those defenses. I thought that he did a great job of flipping his game on its head.
Yeah, to me, this was the best performance Dak's had since Minnesota. I mean, he was cool, calm, and collected throughout the entire game. No matter what Todd Bowles called out there, it wouldn't rattle the guy. He did a great job of ball placement, spreading the football around to his entire offense out there. And Nate, most importantly, he took care of the football.
He took care of the football. I want to agree with you on that, but I like the way he moved within the pocket. He wasn't easy flustered. He didn't panic in no type way. He moved around like the young Dak that I knew. He ran when he needed to run. He was precise in his decisions. He just had a complete game.
His 3 touchdowns in the first half had the Cowboys up 18-0 at halftime. The defense shutting out Tom Brady. They had a key red zone turnover. Barry, how did they do it against the Tampa Bay offense that has some weapons and were able to really neutralize all of them?
Well, like you said, they were able to get pressure on Tom Brady. And when you look at it, they checked all the boxes. They were able to stop the run. That's a check mark. They made life hard for Tom Brady in the pocket. That's a check mark. And they were able to take the football away, something that Tom Brady doesn't do in the playoffs. So to me, if they're able to continue to play at this high level, they're going to be a problem for any of these remaining playoff teams.
You know, we talked about it last week, and we talked about it a little bit in our pregame before this game. He came up, the corners and defensive backs came up and pressed a little bit and made took away those quick decisions and made sure that the big number 7 didn't get going there. What's the running back? Burnett out of the backfield. They made sure he didn't get going. Game over.
Yeah, I'm going to double down on what Nate said. They played patty cake with the chest of the receivers for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But not only that, they were physical in its totality. This entire defense was running around and hitting guys, and you saw a lot of alligator arms in a part of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers after the first half.
So offense, good. Defense, good. Check, check. But the third box special teams was a little shaky. Brett Maher with 4, count them, 1, 2, 3, 4 missed extra points. He had a streak of 5 missed because he missed the final one against Washington as well. I mean, is this a problem, Isaiah, going into the divisional round if Brett Maher can't get this under control?
It's only a problem if you show him that you don't have confidence in him. I think that he is a very savvy kicker in this league. He's proven, and everybody's entitled to a bad game. Everybody's entitled to a really bad game. But it's nice to know that you have a guy that's still fully confident in his ability to be able to drill that thing from really the 45-yard line and in.
Yeah, he's really got a ton of leg to him, and he's won you some games earlier in the year. There's still a lot of confidence in that locker room, both coaching staffs and players around, that have Brett Maher up on that pedestal. Hopefully he can continue to hit those at ease going into the week of a matchup against the San Francisco 49ers. When we come back, we're going to take a look at the ground game and see just what Christian McCaffrey could bring to the table and the weapons that this 49ers team has.
Special edition presented by AT&T is brought to you by Ford F-Series, the best-selling truck in Texas. Reliant, an NRG company. Blockchain.com, trusted by millions, trusted by America's team. And by AT&T, official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. This segment is brought to you by Salvation Army. Love Beyond.
Calling all Cowboys fans out to the Miller Lighthouse at AT&T Stadium this Sunday as the Cowboys get ready to face the San Francisco 49ers. You can do so with a ton of other Cowboys fans for the official divisional watch party. Gates open at 4 o'clock. The cheerleaders, food trucks, lawn games, music, and a whole lot more. Free parking, free admission out there in Arlington. You can figure out more information at dallascowboys.com/playoffs. Welcome back in to Special Edition. Let's take an inside look at that 49ers team that the Cowboys will face in the divisional round out at Levi's Stadium, starting with their quarterback, Brock Purdy, the rookie out of Iowa State. He was the final pick in the 2022 NFL Draft. But, Isaiah, what makes him different? I mean, he's continuing to win games. Why so?
Absolutely nothing, Kyle. I don't think that there's anything special about him. He's just been in a position of success because of the offensive coordinator and the head coach, Shanahan, as coupled with the amount of talent that they put around him. All they're asking him to do is don't mess up. They're making it very easy for him to have quick, easy reads while high precision passes. Yeah,
and like I understand that this guy's a 7th-round pick, but Cowboys defense had better not sleep on him because the guy is 6-0 for a reason. He does a great job of getting the ball out quick to all his playmakers, letting them do damage out there. And as far as decision-making is concerned, he does a great job of taking care of the football. But if that Dallas Cowboys pass rush can come back like they did last week against Tampa Bay, then I believe they can rattle Mr. Purdy.
Yeah, and this 49ers team has been firing on all cylinders really since the bye week. They're 11-0 since the bye week. All 11 of those games have come with Christian McCaffrey out of the backfield. They traded for him 1 week prior to their bye week, and since then he has been off and running. Why is he so different?
He's all everything. He can catch coming out of the backfield. He can run all the different formations that Kyle Shanahan wants to run. He's a power runner. He can run downhill. He can run outside with great speed and quickness. He's shifty. And I think it's some type of film floating around on this guy where you can see his workouts.
Without a doubt. I mean, when you talk about all-purpose backs, this guy has got to be at the top of the list. And it's like you said, Nate, he can do so many things. He has a toughness to run inside. He has a speed to capture the edge on the outside. Not only that, he's a great receiver out of the backfield. So this Dallas Cowboys defense, they've got to know where number 23 is at all times because he is an absolute game wrecker.
And he's not the only weapon that they have either on that side of the ball. You look at Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, Isaiah. Who is most dangerous out of those other ones in the bunch?
They're all dangerous. Deebo Samuel is a heck of a runner. George Kittle's probably the best all-around tight end in the league. And then Brandon Ayuk is a man that you don't hear that much about, but guess what? He just happens to lead the team in receptions and yards. So you might want to know where he's at as well because he's their big play threat.
You know, when you got a tight end like Kittle that can play on the end of the line next to the tackle like old school, and he run his routes from there, that's a dangerous guy because you don't never know if he's going to be the first guy out or the second guy out. So we got to know where Kittle is at all times.
And, of course, with so many offensive weapons, there's no way they have anybody on the defense, right? There's no way they have so many guys on that side of the ball, too. Oh, wait, there's Nick Bosa. He's phenomenal. This defense is really good. Barry, what do they do best?
Yeah, this is going to be a tough matchup for Dallas Cowboys when you talk about their offenses because 49ers are littered with talent throughout the entire defense. You talk about that first level, you got All-Pro and possibly Defensive Player of the Year, Nick Bosa. Then you go to that second level at the linebacker, and you have probably the best off-the-ball linebacker in the National Football League, and that's Fred Warner. And then you talk about that secondary that led the National Football League with 20 interceptions. This will be a tough matchup for Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys offense, but If Dak is able to play that mistake-free football like he did last week, that'll always give the Cowboys a chance to win.
Can I throw one more name in there?
Go ahead, brother.
Eric Armstead. He's right there in the middle of the defensive line. This dude creates havoc. If you allow him to give any kind of penetration presence back there, you're going to have a rough day.
Yeah, the defense has some weapons. The offense, of course, we've already gone through their weapons. And they've got a really good play caller at the same time with Kyle Shanahan. But how could he challenge this Dallas defense? Isaiah hits the film room when we come back, talking about what they do differently, what they do well, and how the Dallas Cowboys can have some success against it.
This segment was brought to you by Salvation Army. Love Beyond. This segment is brought to you by Ford F-Series, the best-selling truck in Texas.
I think we're all excited about it, no question. I think, when the season ends the way it did, and I think that's natural. I mean, that's all part of the competitive spirit in our game. But I think just like anything, I mean, where we want to go, these are the games you have to win, and these are the teams you have to beat, and that's really what we're focused on.
Mike McCarthy and the Dallas Cowboys pretty excited about the fact that they get to play in the divisional round against the San Francisco 49ers. We've got Isaiah Stanback back here on Special Edition. I'm Kyle Yeomans, and let's take a look, deep dive into the film of San Francisco. This is a team that can throw it, they can run it, they can do a ton of different things because they're versatile on offense with all of their weapons, but just like they like to do, let's start with the run, because they like to go on the ground and use Christian McCaffrey and that big, burly offensive line.
You're absolutely correct, Kyle. And what did they do against us last year in the playoffs? They ran the ball, okay? So that's the one area that we're going to have to address, and we're going to have to be very aggressive in doing so because Mr. Shanahan is creative beyond measure, and I'm going to show you guys how he takes typical run concepts and changes them up with his little twist on it, okay? Right here, you guys are going to see typically a power play. They'll pull the backside guard, bring him around to go ahead and crack on a linebacker. Everybody else will reach, and they'll block down with one tackle or one tight end. That's not how they do it here. Right off the bat, I want you guys to acknowledge the fact that this is Deebo Samuels, this is George Kittle, this is McCaffrey. You have your three most dangerous weapons to one side of the ball. Right out here, you have Brandon Ayuk, who just happens to be their leading receiver. So right off the bat, your attention is going to the left side, but that is not where they're going. I'm going to draw this up for you. Brandon Ayuk is going to work his way up to this safety, okay? There's their fullback, okay? There's their fullback. He's going to come in, bypass the outside linebacker, and go and crack on that linebacker. We're coming out here with Trent Williams, probably the best tackle in football. All right, Deebo Samuel is going to be backside. They're going to take Kittle, bring him around, and they're going to take Kittle and put him on a cornerback. That's going to allow everybody else to reach on the backside, reach, work up here, and seal the backside as well. Let's go ahead and watch this thing play out. Very traditional play, not ran in a traditional way. Here he is, Kittle coming across the forest right here. Boom. You see him working up to this cornerback, kick him out. Everybody else is doing their job. Kick out, work on the backside, and now you have Mr. McCaffrey, one of the most dangerous, versatile backs in the history of football, one-on-one with a backside safety. You don't really stand a chance. Dallas, Dan Quinn, you have to find a way to be effective in the run while still finding a way to defend the pass.
Assignment sound, hat on a hat. They walked all the way through that and really had everybody get up to the second level, and you cannot have McCaffrey in space. You also can't allow Deebo Samuel to work his way in space, but he does so effortlessly. How does Dallas try and combat that?
Well, you see here, Seattle took the single high coverage, okay? That's what they wanted to do against San Francisco because mostly they wanted to protect the box. They wanted to take away the run, so you bring down the extra safety. Well, when you decide to do that, you're typically in cover 3 or cover 1. Seattle opted to play cover 1. I don't suggest you do that. Here's the reason why. Okay, I'm going to run everything out. McCaffrey is going to be flexed out, and he's going to run a real receiver route. They have George Kittle right here on the inside. He's going to run what we call a whip route. Okay, right over here, we have Mr. Deebo Samuel. He's going to run a nice little shallow route. He's coming underneath the coverage. Right, we're going to take the top off with the inside receiver here, and we're going to take this safety out of it along with that DB. And then Brandon Ayuk, their number 1 receiver, is going to come out here, get outside, and run again another whip route. The reason why they run whip routes so much is because they want to get to the middle of the field. They want Purdy with his eyes forward and all attention there to have easy passes, and this is hard to defend when you're playing man-to-man. Go ahead and play it through. Right there, you guys see right there, Deebo Samuel's coming underneath. It doesn't matter, man-to-man coverage. And now, pause it right there. We just talked about George Kittle running his route, okay? Kittle had a whip route. Run it outside, bring it back in. Why do they have him coming back in? Well, if it's man-to-man coverage, he's wide open. But if it's not, if he's not wide open, they give it to Debo. Now this turns into a screenplay. Bow, you got that right there. Now you got Debo Samuel breaking tackles, doing what he does best, running with the ball in his hands. You have to find a way to get up there and put your hands on him. If it was me, I'm going to try to lean on the cover two, right? But by having a cover two concept, you got to make sure that your front seven are taking care of business.
Because you don't have that extra defender in the front
Correct.
seven to try and get after Brock Purdy and make things tough. Got to get hands on their receivers. Jam up the timing. They did so well against Tampa Bay. Can they do it against San Francisco? When we come back, we're going to flip to the defensive side of the football. How can the Cowboys slow down that man, Nick Bosa and company? They're going to be coming for Dak Prescott. How do they keep him upright?
This segment was brought to you by Ford F-Series, the best-selling truck in Texas.
It's another big game for us. How I see it, we're motivated by ourselves. We want to win it all. The guys around here, we're craving the Super Bowl, so they're in the way of that, and that's enough motivation for us.
Craving a Super Bowl. Jaron Kearse said it himself, and he's good to go. He was injured in that later part of the game against Tampa Bay. He should be 100%. At least that's what he said. Earlier in the week, we've got Isaiah Stanback, Barry Church, Nate Newton. I'm Kyle Yeomans. And Barry, let's start with you. Your matchup to watch involves one Jaron Kearse.
You're exactly right. I got a marquee matchup here. I got Jaron Kearse versus one of the top tight ends in the National Football League, George Kittle. Now, Kearse is going to have his hands full because when you talk about all-around tight ends, George Kittle is that. He can block you. He can run routes, beat man-to-man coverage. He can do it all. So Kearse is going to have his hands full. He got to get his hands on that guy at the line of scrimmage. Don't let him get started because if he does, it'll be a long afternoon for the secondary.
I believe in the hands theory because you're going to have to get hands on Nick Bosa. Tyron Smith, you're going to have to gather all of your knowledge, all of your experience, and you're going to have to set strong on this guy. You're going to have to fight him, run and pass, because he is the heartthrob of this defense. So we will have to neutralize Nick Bosa if we want to have a chance to win this game.
How do you do that? Do you go right at him? Do you just challenge him specifically?
You just go through your game plan and you just let Tyron figure that out. I'm not trying to be funny because this guy can stop the run. He can get after your pass. He's at 18.5 sacks during the regular year. He get pressure on your quarterback. Tyron just have to play an overall good game. And in the red zone, we have to score.
I'm going to go to the cerebral game, and that's going to be the guys that are sitting up there in the box and the guy that's actually on the field, and that's going to be Mr. Kyle Shanahan of the 49ers, the offensive genius, I call him a Jedi, versus Mr. Dan Quinn. I'm going to need Dan Quinn to be Yoda because guess what? You're going to have to combat everything that they're doing offensively with their schemes from Shanahan as well as the personnel that he has. Dan Quinn did an amazing job against Tampa Bay and all the weapons that they had last week by allowing his defensive backs and trusting his defensive backs to come up there, put hands on the guys, and really disturb their timing and their concepts. He's going to have to do it again, except for this time they have more weapons with the 49ers.
Yeah, they do. And one of the guys that's going to be challenged with coming up and putting hands on those weapons, Trayvon Diggs, who wants a little bit of revenge for that game last year against the San Francisco 49ers. When we come back on Special Edition, how can he have some success this time around? And we'll give you our keys to the game and the keys to going to a conference championship game.
Special Edition, presented by AT&T, was brought to you by Ford F-Series, the best-selling truck in Texas. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys. And by AT&T, official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys.
It's the final segment of Special Edition for the 2022-23 season. Thank you all for joining us throughout the year. Isaiah Stanback, Barry Church, Nate Newton, I'm Kyle Yeomans. Of course, 5:30 kickoff Central Time on Fox this week. The Cowboys taking on the San Francisco 49ers. Barry, what's your key for the Cowboys getting a win?
Well, defensively, I need them to turn Brock Purdy back into Mr. Irrelevant. All right, this guy's playing at an all-time high right now. We need to bring him back to earth, and the way to do that is to get that pass rush going. Micah, D-Law, let's get to it.
I need that rookie Dak back, just like Nate Dogg said, okay, last week against Tampa Bay. I need Dak to do the same thing, plus more, because we're definitely have to get up in the scoreboard.
If we want to advance, our offensive defensive lines has to play perfect. Bottom line, play well.
What's your prediction, Nate? Cowboys get the win?
Well, we talked about this, and I got the 49ers by 1. a -1.
Think so. Not so fast from Nate Newton. Again, thank you guys for joining us throughout the year on Special Edition. We've had a blast. Watch party out at AT&T Stadium this week at the Miller Lite House. Doors open at 4. And if you want to see this crew, come out to the Star in Frisco. We'll be outside at the Tostitos Championship Plaza. We'll have the pregame show from out there. Come hang out with us. That starts at 4 o'clock as well. For Isaiah, Barry, Nate, and our entire DallasCowboys.com crew, I'm Kyle Yeoman saying so long. Go Cowboys in the divisional round.